Hi guys! In today's video I am creating an oil painting on watercolor paper. I would like to talk a little bit about the why and the how I did that. So a few weeks ago I tried to film a video on whether oil painting is expensive or not compared to other mediums. I didn't end up posting that video because it wasn't a very good one, but what I figured out trying to create it was that the main problem with oil painting and the price of it is the surface you're going to work on. Paints are not really that expensive and you can just get a few colors. Brushes, you can always find cheap ones, but the surface is kind of important, especially if you want your painting to be archival. Whether working on stretched canvas, a canvas board or a gesso board or any other surface of that kind, it can turn out to be a lot more expensive than other mediums. The price of a canvas the same size as a sheet of watercolor or pastel paper can be 4 or 5 times above. I mean, if a sheet of watercolor paper is at like a couple of euros, the same size canvas could end up 10 or 12 euros. So I wanted to test different surfaces and see if I can do something about it and share it with you. My thought was that I would like to do art pieces that are not that expensive to sell in the end. I wanted to do smaller pieces and simpler ones that I could list for a much lower price in the end. Apart from that, I discovered that it is a lot less scary to work on a surface like that when you're not worried of ruining an expensive canvas or gesso board. In addition to these benefits, you can work on any size you choose to cut your paper down to instead of getting the fixed canvas sizes, and if you need to ship this internationally or overseas, it is much easier to package and keep it safe, and of course much cheaper to ship it. All of these reasons together made me really want to try it and see how it works. My first experiments were within my sketchbooks, as you may already know, but the paper of the sketchbook is quite thin. It does hold the paint and the gesso very well, but sending something like this to someone to put on their wall felt a little bit weird. I wanted something more sturdy, something that would feel like a real painting, which is why I turned to watercolor paper. A watercolor paper is heavy enough to feel sturdy, and we do create watercolor paintings on them, so it's equally good to send as an oil painting. It is still easy to package and ship and has all the qualities I need, but it also has the sturdiness and the feel of quality that I wanted to have for originals. Of course, I needed a way to seal the paper and not have it get in touch with the oil paints directly, and that's why I got the gesso. I put 2 or 3 coats of gesso on top of the watercolor paper. I first taped it down so that it doesn't buckle. I did use some sandpaper to make the surface smoother, made sure the paper was completely sealed, and then started painting on it. A small tip here: if you want to put your sketch on your paper and then put the gesso on top, pick a transparent gesso. That way, when it dries, you will still be able to see the sketch below the gesso and not have it covered up with a white gesso instead. If you don't work with a pencil sketch and you go straight in with your paints, this wouldn't make much of a difference to you. That brings me to the technique I chose to use for this painting. Throughout the last few weeks, I have been experimenting going straight with my paint on the paper on the canvas without a pencil sketch at the bottom. It was a very challenging experiment and I sometimes succeeded, I sometimes failed because I wasn't used to it. It was very interesting and a nice new experience, something that I will definitely try in the future too. But after a while and after a few failures and lessons learned, I felt like I needed a little bit of a boost on my confidence. As much as I like experimenting and trying new things, sometimes it can get overwhelming failing over and over again, even if you learn a lot in the process. Sometimes I like going back to my comfort zone and making sure I know exactly what I'm doing and feel perfectly comfortable doing it because it makes me feel better about myself, my skills, and my artwork. Going back and forth between uncertainty and comfort gives me the best results in the long run. I don't want to keep failing and make myself feel bad all the time, but I also don't want to keep staying in my comfort zone and never learning something new. I just make sure to do what I need to do at any given time based on my feelings and my mentality at the moment. Another thing I changed was that I tried to make small areas as complete as possible before moving on to other areas. Sometimes I like to put a first layer of color on the whole painting and then start adding details, but I think I feel more comfortable when I take every little area at a time and finish it before moving on to another one. It doesn't mean that I don't go back to fix things, but it does mean that I spend more time on this first layer that in some areas also stays the only layer in the end of the painting. As for the concept of the painting, it started a little bit different, as you can see in my initial sketch, but I changed it along the way. When I started adding the leaves and giving it the feel that she could be part of her surroundings, I liked that more, so I stuck with that. I didn't add the details and the leaves that I initially planned to add. I still consider her to be some kind of forest queen, but not the ones that stay in their castle, the ones that lead their people in the front line. A ranger, probably, a creature of the forest, as many others I've created in the past. Someone strong and decisive, someone who leads her people in the best way possible. I hope I have achieved that, and I hope she can inspire us all to become better leaders and get in the front lines instead of sacrificing others for our safety and success. And with that, I think that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching the time-lapse and listening to me ramble about the oil painting and the concept of this painting. This painting will be soon available for sale, as I said at the start, at a much lower price than my usual originals, so stay tuned. If you did like this video, please leave a thumbs up before you go, and let me know in the comments below if you think I succeeded with my concept for this painting. If you'd like to watch more videos like this, consider subscribing to my channel. I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, be safe, be happy, and keep going for your dreams. Bye!